center off of Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scored!
Come from behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get him! Wow! Edwards pulls up and buries a three! Richardson tries, out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. Daniels takes his shot for Darby. Flag out.
There we are. Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch, everybody? I am Michael Caratunino at Diablo00 on X, artist formerly known as Twitter. Check out the show live there every day from 12 to 1, as we know, as we go live. And also my IG, Michael.Caratunino.5, and the YouTube channel, Pitchfork Lunchers. I know. A lot of you have already subscribed. Some of you haven't. Pass it along to your friends. But go to YouTube. If you've missed any shows, the first 3 shows this season, man, picking up where we left off, just rolling with, again, a lot of great interviews. And again, more to come. Coaches, yes. Players, yes. Insiders, voices, alum. Pitchfork Lunch, man. Celebrate Sun Devil Nation. As we roll in to obviously the home and season opener for Sun Devil football. Kenny Dillingham and his staff, their second season taking over. So again, a lot of excitement. Obviously, women's soccer tonight, back at home, taking on Grambling off a phenomenal, badass 5-2 victory in Baton Rouge over LSU. Graham Winkworth has his team at 2-0-2. So again, early on, just building up. We'll see what happens. See how they can do in the Big 12. So they are at home tonight. Volleyball, like I said, hits the road this weekend. But my point to all that, if you miss any of the shows or you're a great Sun Devil friend to your other Sun Devil alum, you will, hey, let everybody know. Go to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. So go to YouTube, and then my channel says M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe because, like I said, you can catch up all the interviews. Kicked off episode 1 with Graham Rossini, the new athletic director. Yeah, got hired in it was quite a few months of a search, but in-house he was here, and man, energy. Seen him at games again. Seen him up at Camp T, out at football. But soccer, the maroon and gold scrimmage for volleyball, which you guys know I was out at last week. So, but yeah, kick the season 2, episode 1 off again. Got it rolling last year and built up, but look at that. Sat down with Graham at Big 12 Media Days in Las Vegas for football, and obviously have talked to him since then. And like I said, seen him out, gotten to talk to him. He, like I said, it's going to be, always a uphill battle when first starting, but I'm excited talking to him, his vision, what he wants to do, obviously within the athletic department, but the success of the athletic department, the growth, just improvements alone. What he sees, obviously working with the coaches and the student athletes as well. So, bam, day 1, day 2. I sit down with AJ Cooper, Sun Devil linebackers coach, running game coordinator, up at Camp T. He was kind enough after one of the practices to sit down with me. Brought that to you on Tuesday. Yesterday, we got to hear from Brian Carrington, cornerbacks coach, phenomenal recruiter. In his so far in his very experienced career, bam. And Coach Dillingham, you get it. The name of the game is recruiting. Yes, people can be jaded, and we talk about NIL and say, all they're talking about is this and the money. But look, coaches, they're looking for players, they're looking for competitors. The better you do on the field, in this case, but in your sport. Yes, the avenues for NIL, partnerships, stuff like that are going to grow. So they obviously, yes, it's still recruiting, but yes, it does have a different twist. And obviously now with the transfer portal, as well as former coach Herm Edwards used to call it, for free agency. So yeah, we talked to Brian Carrington yesterday. So if you miss any of that, again, go to YouTube, Michael Carrington. You see it right there. But then you can just search channels at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC 005 on YouTube. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's one of those things, pardon me, where you look at it and football obviously coming in their opener, but recruiting, like I'm talking about with Coach Carrington, that, yeah, I mean, he obviously has a as you say, pseudo thumbprint, whatever you want to say, thumbprint, but just a thought, obviously, of recruiting in Texas and, Texas to Tempe. And you see, what that's becoming. Like you said, no, not, they're not every single player is going to be from Texas. Yes. I mean, Coach Dillingham, it's not just words, it's action. Yes, it is a phrase, but activate the Valley. When he came back, Coach Carrington, I mean, again, we saw it yesterday. You guys heard him, saw it, and he is just again, phenomenal recruiter. And yeah, he's just a phenomenal recruiter. And, you can see, and he talked about even a guy on the other side of the ball, Jake Smith, who was at Texas and then at USC, and then now with him here at Arizona State. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the conversation very enlightening. But just again, how you're looking at recruiting and kids, and looking at the way in Texas, because landing somebody like a Bijan Robinson from Arizona, who, again, I mean, like you said, average 22 yards a carry, 25 yards a carry, whatever ridiculous, insane number it was, but yeah, whatever ridiculous, insane number it was. Yeah, whatever ridiculous, insane number it was, pardon me, like for Bijan Robinson, like you land a kid like that, but I'm also understanding, like, to the other side, like in recruiting, I mean, yeah, again, and I'm not calling, coaches liars, or people can say, oh, they're like, car, you use car salespeople, whatever, like, yes, you have to understand, like, they're recruiting, and yes, they want you, but yes, they also have to recruit others at your position, because if you choose not to go there, obviously. So it's, yeah. And, Bijan getting over the stigma of that, but just like Coach Carrington said, just, a great kid, and, everything that he did there. But I mean, yeah, and you land a guy like, Jake Smith, who was Arizona Gatorade Player of the Year coming to Texas, and then USC and now ASU, and Waver didn't get, we talked about it ad nauseum last year and, beginning of this year so far, but both Jake Smith and Xavier Alford back on the field, or the 100-yard landlord, as we've talked to him. We'll hear from him. So, but yeah, it's one of those things where, man, couldn't be more stoked for, obviously, this game against Wyoming, but somebody like Jake Smith, and obviously Xavier Alford. And man, this defense, and like I said, we're going to get into more of it tomorrow, because they're talking about guests. Chris Cartman is going to be on, and yes, he likes to give it to me, but pitchfork lunch, hey, no. And like I gave the disclaimer, beginning of last year and throughout, everything's not rainbows and unicorns. I didn't sit here and say, 3-9 and make every excuse team should have been 9-3. Obviously, spoke facts, the mass unit that the team was, but the depth, I mean, Dyron Reynolds, the defensive line coach. I mean, coach has talked about him, and I look forward to aiming to, obviously have him on the show as well. So, but yeah, I mean, this game against Wyoming is, like I said, very, very stoked. But Chris Cartman will be on tomorrow. He's the publisher of Sun Devil Source for 24/7 Sports. We always go back and forth, obviously, in the know on recruiting. We'll talk, obviously, Sam Levitt being quarterback. My ridiculous numbers, which don't mathematically would be awesome, but probably even in this day and age, you could say, yeah, anything could happen, but don't really add up to where wins. But, we'll leave that for tomorrow with Chris. So, again, join us tomorrow for that. Soccer, like I said tonight, they are 2-0-2, and Graham Winkworth has his team taking on Grambling. So far, they opened up at home back on August 16th, which I was there for that. Very awesome. Again, to just be back out there, seeing the women's soccer team, Coach Winkworth, man, just, again, love his passion, his coaching, but just, I mean, the teams he's put together. Yeah. And then they turned around. It was a 1-1 draw against NAU, and then they had a 6-0 shutout of Wagner. And then they had Little Rock at home, and Little Rock being I don't know if I know they had the tournament the year before. That's one thing I have in my notes. Side note here. I have the years, but well, I mean, they were recently a tournament team, so it was a 0-0 draw versus Little Rock, and then they went to Baton Rouge and just beat down LSU 5-2. It was tied 2-2 at half, and then 3 unanswered in the second half. So, yeah, for the Devils, Cameron Valladares scored 2 goals. Anasia Cologne also misses rocket foot. And those of you know, again, good, obviously a very, very good player, Anasia Cologne. But she had 2, and this is a goal by ASU team. And I was trying to look at that the other day, and even last night, going through some stuff, but in the highlights. But yeah, it's a goal by ASU team. So nonetheless, though, 5-2, as again, LSU scored first, and I mean they scored in the 3rd minute, and then ASU in the 4th minute. Ida Hernandez scored for LSU in the 3rd minute. In the 4th minute, Cameron Valladares scored. And then we go to the 18th minute where Jasmine Ferguson scored for LSU to make it 2-1. Then the 24th minute, the goal by, like it says, ASU team. That was in the 24th minute. And that's we go to half 2-2, and then Cameron Valladares gets her second in the 53 minute mark, and then Anasia Colon goes back to back in the 57 minute or 58th minute and the 65th minute. But it's crazy because Colon assisted on both or on Cameron Valladares' first goal, and then Cameron Valladares assisted on both of Anasia Colon's goals. So those two, again, looking to so ASU, 2 yellow cards in the match. Emily Simpson, she'll play some defense, but again, got a yellow card, as did but yeah, 2 yellow cards. Simpson got 1, and then for LSU, Jasmine Ferguson, their goal scorer, one of their goal scorers got a goal. But yeah, I mean, just a great performance there. I mean, on the road, you're at home and you go on the road, and then you yeah, I mean, you're home for obviously NAU, Wagner, and Little Rock, and then you go to LSU, you go to Baton Rouge, you get the 5-2 win last Sunday. Again, tonight, 7 p.m., hey, Grambling State is going to be in Tempe, so if you're out and about, get out there, check it out. Come out to ASU women's soccer. I shall be out there, so hit me up at Diablo00. Let me know all the goods, and you can come out. But I'm going to take a quick break. We get back and dive more into football. Obviously, start talking the matchup between Wyoming and ASU, more so from the ASU side. But yes, we'll talk about it. And then, yeah, we also got volleyball to get to and more soccer. But I'll step aside, and we'll have more Pitchfork Lunch coming up. And back here on Pitchfork Lunch, checking out some action there. Like I said, so far this fall camp, and now leading into week one, game week here for Sun Devil football. But yeah, a little action there. Also a little bit from the maroon and gold scrimmage, like I talked about from volleyball. I said I'm out there. So yeah, bringing it back with those, and yeah, you saw the receivers obviously getting work. Jordan Tyson. The young man transferred from Colorado as a redshirt sophomore, is from Allen, Texas, went to Allen High School. And, as a freshman at Colorado, he had an insane game against ASU. Was banged up last year, got in a little bit towards the end of the season, but man, through camp, this young man, can expect big things. This receiving core, again, you saw that last catch, Shamari Simmons. I mean, you've been raving about the this one right here. Been raving about, obviously, the secondary, and I talked about Melquan Stovall. It was our show with just his pattern running, his route running has gotten just so much stronger, even from last year where it improved. And then, I remember talking to Coach Samples, obviously, before he left. Now Coach Ward, Hines Ward, coming in and talked to him, and I got stuff we'll hear from the coaches on it, but. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'll put it up again, but I mean, Melquan Stovall, you see obviously Shamari Simmons, one of the veterans, part of the Pat Tillman Leadership Council. I know I mentioned that on Monday, but yeah, it's the Leadership Council of the team, obviously voted on by the team, obviously coaches as well, but Shamari Simmons obviously being a part of that. And again, you look at what, like I said, the secondary can do with this battle right here. Put it up. From both those guys. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like it says, Sun Devil Nation, and it's cautiously optimistic. I know back-to-back seasons of 3-9. This team, look, and I'm going to say this now. I'm not saying that that other teams haven't gotten better, but this is definitely a ASU's improving, out that other teams haven't, with transfer portal, you say, but what this defense can do, and the depth, and just like talked about the running backs the other day. I mean, the depth of that room, and even like at receiver. I mean, you have a guy like Jordan Tyson. We talked about, you saw right there, making one of those catches over the middle. I mean, talk about Jordan Tyson, and which I want to say. I'll say it was this one. I think it is this one. Oh no, that's there's your Hillary right there. Oh yeah, it's this one right here. Again, it is Jordan Tyson. I mean, look, just ripping it out of the air. So, yeah, that is one. Again, you get excited about that. Then you, like I said, you see Xavier Guillory, Melquan Stovall, Jake Smith. I was talking about him, what he can do as well. And then you have, and I mean, he's battles up with Troy O'Meara. I mean, that size on the outside. I mean, what he is able to do. And then also the Penn State transfer, Malik McLean, talking to him. And then, I mean, that's just, I mean, in the receiving core. And Derek Eusebio, who, I mean, again, a walk-on kid, but has just constantly made catches. And I mean, not just in individuals, going one-on-one, but in 7-on-7, 11-on-11, making catches, making plays. And I mean, Coach Dillingham's talked about him, earning, like, just keep making it. And yeah, you're you say, okay, rotation of receivers. Yeah, you're down on it, but this is a young man that, can definitely make plays. I mean, another player is, a redshirt freshman from Plano, Texas. So yeah, very, very stoked. For these receivers. And you see, like I said, you see the receiver room. And it's it's deep. The running back room, I mean, led by obviously the locomotive, as you Pitchfork Lunchers know, I called him last year, Cam Scattaboo, the punt, pass, and kick champion of the team. Not that coach wanted that. But just the way things played out. I mean, the way he's looking, DeCarlos Brooks, leaned up a little bit, not that, but DeCarlos Brooks in the backfield. And then you have Kyson Brown. I mean, and I haven't even gotten to, obviously, Raleek Brown. And then you see, Alton McCaskill. A guy's come in, and I mean, like I said, I mentioned the running backs and I haven't got to him, and then even the freshman, Jason Brown Jr. I mean, it is a running backs room for Coach Iguano that, you have your you can spread the ball around. And yes, the problem is there's always one ball. So, but let's hear from Coach Dillingham. Coach Dillingham's coach yesterday after practice. Obviously is they practice today, and then a little bit of a walkthrough tomorrow. But yeah, Coach Dillingham spoke yesterday, and I mean, a lot of days, but game week, first time. So, here is, without further ado, here is Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham talking about, obviously, the matchup and, waiting to seeing what, you can think of what you might see from your team, but now there's finally somebody else across from adjustments and all that good stuff. So, without further ado, here is Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham.
The most, Rodney. That's a guy who's gotten a lot better. I mean, obviously he's a true freshman, so he's improved a ton.
Your take on where you stand a couple days before the first game?
Yeah, I mean, I think our guys are excited to play. I mean, which everybody is. So it's really hard to tell until you take the field and you're under the fire. I think you play versus each other so long, you're like, oh, we're good up front. Oh, our defense got a great pass rush. Oh, we're good at wideout, or we're good at running back, or we're good at. You play yourself every day, right? You don't know if you're good at something or bad at something, right? And that's what game days are for, is to figure out where you just average at something and bad in another area. And I'll say this, I know for a fact we're a better football team. Overall, I can say that with complete confidence. How we play under the lights, and that's what matters.
Do you have any update on which coaches will be in the box and which coordinators will be on the sideline?
Yeah, both our coordinators will be in the box this year. Both our coordinators. Obviously, with the changing of the roles and being able to communicate, watch tape, being able to have that calmness in the box to sit there and watch essentially game film live. If there's a 30-second timeout, being able to go watch the last play, because everything gets within 7 to 9 seconds, you get the play up there. I definitely feel like that's an advantage if used correctly. Not really. This only really has an effect. This doesn't really have an effect for signal stealing, this quarterback communication, because you can't. What is happening over there? Because you still have to communicate to the other 10 guys. Even if you said the quarterback communicates to the O-line, the wideouts, the tight ends, the running backs still got to see a signal. So unless you're a huddle team in which you could eliminate the signal process more like NFL teams, you're still going to have to signal. Whereas NFL teams who huddle a lot, bring out of a huddle, and then they change their words, they have to relearn what their tempo words are each week. Maybe they're 15 to 20 one-word calls or 10 one-word calls, whatever team they are each week, and they change it so the defense doesn't pick off their word from the prior team. So you don't really do that in college. So the signals are still going to be alive until they give everybody a headset, which I don't know if that'll ever happen.
What role has DJ Foster played for guys on the field, off the field, kind of just, how have you seen it?
Yeah, I mean, he's a definition of Sun Devil for life. He's a definition of Activate the Valley. He went to school here. He broke records here. He could have gone almost anywhere in the country he wanted to go. He came here, right? He graduated from here. He had success here. I think he still has records here in terms of being a passing threat and a rushing threat, or a receiving threat and rushing threat. Then he goes and plays in the NFL, wins a Super Bowl, and then comes right back here and starts working again. I mean, he's the definition of what staying home, the value of staying home can do, and Steve Miller's another example of that as well. But his value that he provides to the guys when they, pitch a fit, I would say, or they get in their feelings, or they get in their head, he can walk over and be like, hey, I was that dude. Because that was DJ when he was 19. DJ was the dude who would have a little added, not a lot, but he had to grow up a lot, and he did. So to be a guy who was that, he really understands how to relate to that. He can just go over and have a conversation with him, and it's been great from an off the field perspective for those guys, just to have a guy to go and talk to.
Coach, when you're getting ready for week one and when I'm bringing in a new head coach, how uncomfortable does that make game prep with no film?
Well, he was their defense coordinator last year, so we have a really good clue on what they're going to do on defense. Offensively, it's very common. I think it was like 33% or 25%, one of those, of all coaches changed jobs this year, which is absurd in college football. Hopefully, but I was part of that cycle too, so I can't really hate on that cycle because I was one of those people at one time. But that just means week ones are going to be a pain in the butt until that norm changes. And so offensively, we're kind of watching this and watching that and trying to put together what they would do if it's combined and taking some guesses on what they're going to do. So, and then defensively, I know they're going to blitz more. I mean, you just look at their success rate. They were 15 out of 19 on wins on 3rd and 5 or plus. They only blitzed 19 times on 3rd downs last year. They won 15 times, which means anybody who self-scouts themselves and say we were over 100th, one of the worst teams in the country on 3rd down last year, but we were elite, or we were 75, 80% win rate when we blitzed. What are you going to do? You're going to blitz. How they're going to blitz, I don't know. Right? I don't know. But I know that they're going to have a plan to bring a lot more pressure than they did last year on 3rd downs, and we got to have a plan to combat that pressure.
There's not a ton of tape out on Evans but in terms of the quarterback, what jumps out to you?
Yeah, I mean, he has a really strong arm, and then he's big. So, I mean, you got to be alert for quarterback runs. I mean, you saw him hop in the game versus in the bowl game versus Toledo, and they're running quarterback duo follow, right, or whatever you want to call it, inside zone follow with the running back leading up on the corner with him because he's a big physical back on 3rd and short. So you got to anticipate that they're going to run him directly in 240 pounds. Anytime you have a quarterback that's going to run direct runs, not zone reads, direct runs, where he's just a running back, he's a +1 in the hat count, you got to account for that. So you got to be prepared for that. And then his ability to throw the ball, when he's clean in the pocket, he throws the ball really, really well. And you can see it in both those games. He's a big dude, so we got to get him uncomfortable, and we got to be prepared for him to have direct runs.
And there you go. Sun Devil head coach Kenny Dillingham talking about Evan Svoboda, who's from Mesa. Local kid, 6'5". I mean, this is big, but the junior, yeah. So, I mean, a 6'5" quarterback. Who, I mean, last year, completed, I mean, it's 23 of 38. Didn't throw a touchdown, had 1 interception, but yeah, he had 20 carries for 54 yards last year. So, yeah, I mean, he didn't start the whole season, but yeah, I mean, big kid. I mean, 6'5", 245. And like Coach Dillingham just said right there, like you've got to be able to stop. Now they are missing their top running back, and I'll look at the notes tonight and obviously get that to you tomorrow. Their top running back is not playing from what I've seen. Confirm that tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those teams. And I mean, you look at from ASU from a defensive standpoint, like I said, yes, you can be very, very excited. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where you hear Coach Dillingham right there, like, yeah, you've been playing, your team. Camp is important. Obviously, install, everything's important. But so, yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where when you look at it, I mean, how are you going to make adjustments? Like you said, but you said and the coordinators are both going to be upstairs because obviously the communication into the helmet is, and then now the pads on the like on the sidelines, they'd be able to adjust. So obviously having that and the communication in the helmet. We heard from Keyshawn Elliott yesterday. Linebacker is, going to have the green dot, as they say, in communicating. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. For Marcus Arroyo too, because he coached at Wyoming, the offensive coordinator. And yes, we will hear from him right now too. Yep. So yeah, let's hear from. Obviously, first year offensive coordinator at ASU, Marcus Arroyo, but experience he has talked about it. So let's hear from the Sun Devil offensive coordinator.
How you feeling about your readiness?
Good, excited. Game week, man. This is the first real Tuesday, so it's awesome. It's awesome to get an opponent in front of us and get some film, get some game planning going. I know guys are excited. You put a lot of work in. I know the investment that the guys have put in is coming out, and couldn't be more excited for the guys to get out there and roll.
I know some things to figure out at left tackle going into camp. How do you feel about that position specific?
Good. I think the O-line's done a good job of working through those top 6, 7, 8 guys, And I think the left tackle position is going to be one we're going to feel really good about on Saturday night. These guys are going to be rolling in, and Coach C's got a great lineup, a great idea for those guys up front. And I really enjoyed the fact that in camp we've rolled a lot of guys through at different spots. I think the position flexibility in the front's huge, and to have a few guys at some depth at that position, I think last year was a major issue. And it's a lot of places like that. Let's be really candid. There's a lot of places that when you're starting it up, you're going to work through the roster development piece, the talent acquisition piece, and we're no different. And I'm just getting here knowing that too. So I've been excited about that top group that's out there right now.
How game ready is Sam?
One more time.
How game ready is Sam?
How game ready is Sam? We'll find out. You guys only played in a few games. At this point, we're trying to get him as ready as he can. He's had a bunch of practice, a bunch of reps. We've had 1,500, camp reps. He's had a spring ball. You won't know till the lights come on, and there's going to be some growth pains in a guy who's in his 5th game or whatever it may be. But that's part of it.
How do you feel that he's gotten used to you as a play caller, and you guys are just getting on the same page, you and Sam?
I think the only way to get that done is we spend a lot of time together in the film room. We spend a lot of time when we plan practice. Try to use any kind of a teaching tool we can, whether it's film, whether it's written, whether it's any modality we've got at our extent to be able to handle the communication that we've got, what we're looking at, why we're calling what certain packages and plays we like, certain things, and the more we get together, the more time we get together, the more we start thinking, symbiotically, and hopefully that connection starts to continue to gel, which it usually does when you spend that much time together, right?
Is it easier when you're narrowing down to a game plan versus everything that you're doing in camp?
Yeah, it can be, because you're starting to really hone in on this is the small piece of it. With that said, there's also components where you're going against your defense for 20 days, and all of a sudden now you change gears, and there's some versus our defense we did this, and this we've got to do that. And so there's a little bit of that sometimes. Hopefully it's not too much when you've got a system you're piecing together. We're still in the infant stages, obviously, but we're trying to make sure that piece of it is streamlined, and you don't have a whole lot of mechanical stuff that's going to change a lot. Start over.
In the film that you've been studying, what has the process been like about learning what kind of program Wyoming has, specifically the defensive side of the ball, and what they can be great points out of it?
Well, historically, first of all, I've worked with it before, so I know what that place is all about. A real tough, hard-working, blue-collar operation, has been for a really long time, and I think it's really in their DNA of how they play. It's been like that for a long time since they've been coached there. Coach Bull has kept it rolling, and they've done an amazing job. And now he's gone, and now Jay's there to take over. And I don't see much of a change in regards to the DNA of that football program. A tough blue collar group that's going to be right where they're going to be. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to play tough brand of football, and that's what I was there when I was there, and that's what they continue to be. So we've got a tough task.
What do you hope your offensive identity is set?
Well, on the field, you got to make sure, number one, you take care of the football more than anything. I think that's the biggest thing in a brand of football is taking care of the football. Trying to be explosive on either however you need to do it, whether you're running the ball or throwing the ball down the field. A group that's tough, smart, physical, and understands situational football. And I think at the end of the day, those are the things that we've got to get done offensively. That's what you have to get done on your side of the ball as an offensive group to have success.
Do you feel like you've ironed out the helmet communication stuff with Sam, and you guys have a good plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we worked it as much as we can. We worked it, I mean, back NFL, you didn't walk through stuff like that. We've tried to use every which way to use the help of communication. We've got walk-through setting, helmet things. We've got walkie-talkies and walkthroughs to continue to kind of use the mechanics and the chemistry of him hearing my voice in his ear. So I think we've tried every which way. We've worked in the stadium, within the box. Haven't worked the game day, but we'll see how that all operates.
Is that a breath of fresh air to finally have this in college football in a sense?
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to have it finally in college football. It took a long time, obviously, but yeah, there's some pieces to it that make it really fresh. That give you some edges, I think, if you can use it effectively. And so I'm excited to see it all plays out on both sides of the ball.
Where could those edges be gained?
Well, I mean, as you get into the minutia of offense and defense, when you get into certain packages and checks and communication to guys on field checks, either without the earpiece, you've got rote memorization and adjustments made internally, which hopefully they've got coached up and right. Now, before that 15-second clock, you may have some time to communicate with guys that you didn't have before. And so I know each place and each side of the ball is going to use that in different patterns or different recipes. But I think the ability to have that conversation with guys, if you can use it effectively, can be an advantage.
I know that different coordinators have different philosophies about the week one games. You want to keep the playbook really tight. You just want to open it and really defend limitations like any other week. What's your philosophy when it comes to that?
Yeah, I mean, you want to put enough out there you can be efficient and effective and not put your guys, at a disadvantage in regards to a whole new way of offense. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's who we're going to be. I know we're in the infant stages of putting the offense in the first fall, but I think, my philosophy, the fact to go out there and do what we do something the guys can understand, put it in the players' hands, and as far as what the players are getting the balls, how we can scheme it up, and how we coach it. You can't throw a bunch of stuff out if they don't know. And I think at the end of the day, go out there and whatever we've got installed and we feel good about, go out there next.
Appreciate it.
And there he is, offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo. Like you said, it's a communication, obviously, with the iPads and stuff like that, being able to make adjustments, communication in the helmet. And that's why I had asked him there. I said, I mean, yes, they've I didn't realize I started back in the spring because I'm with it, which is good. But yeah, I mean, the communication in the quarterback's helmets, all the quarterbacks had it. So you hear, Coach Arroyo's voice. Coach Arroyo's voice, like he was saying. And it's one of those things where, offense, defense, but it's, not so much just calling the plays and you heard Coach Dillingham about, stealing signals. It's one of those things where, and Sam Levitt talked about the other day too, about how, so I will play that for you tomorrow. But just, hearing it in the ear. And, some little things like, hey, look for this. And last play, adjusting and doing that. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Wyoming will play defense. We do know that. And like I said, their defensive coordinator, Jay Sauvel, who is now their head coach. But, yeah, Coach Dillingham said, I mean, it's a team that's going to blitz, and you're in Wyoming, it's one of those things where obviously the elevation and home crowd helps out. So we'll see how they take to the heat here in Tempe. So, but more on football tomorrow. Again, soccer taking on Grambling tonight. My Pitchfork Lunchers as they. You look at the stats, like I said, I mean, Anasia Colon on the season, she has 4 goals. Cameron Valladares has 3. Kiara Blundell has 2. Megan Sofield also has 2. It's just team 1. I want to say Lucy Johnson has 1 as well. I will confirm that, though, tonight. But either way, 12 goals for this team that has only given up 3. Assist-wise early on, Cameron Valladares, with 3 assists, 3 goals, 3 assists. So, And you look at obviously Pauline Nels in goal, started all 4 games. She's allowed 3 goals, 12 saves, 2 shutouts already. And I mean, just the way she played last year, the way she grew last year was just owning it between the posts. And yeah, that's love her style of play. And again, if someone, has a chance, gets by the defense, you feel really, 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 really great if you're Graham Winkworth and you have Nels back there. But yeah, they will be taking on Grambling tonight. I suggest you head on out there, Grambling State, pardon me, at 7:30. You look at them, and they are 2-1-2 overall. They played Louisiana State University in Alexandria. They won 7-0. Southeastern Louisiana, it was a 0-0 draw, and then they beat Nichols 2-0. They lost to University of Louisiana at Monroe 3-1, and then La Tech they tied at 3 as they head into Tempe. Jayla George is their team leader in goals. She has 4 on the season for Grambling State. Justin Weiger is their head coach. But yeah, you look at this team for that ASU's playing against. I mean, they scored 44 goals. Oh, wait, that's last year. That is last year's stats. There we go. I'm like 44 goals, though. I'm like, no, they haven't. 13 goals that they've scored this season and given up 6. They've taken 68 shots. 32 of those have been on goal. They have gotten 4 yellow cards, 7 assists, 16 saves, 71 fouls they've committed, taking 29 corners. Individually, though, like I said, Jayla Gage leads the team with 4 goals. And then both Charlotte Cuthbertso, pardon me, has 2, as does Sophia Lesisdis. Sophia Lesisdis, pardon me, Lesisdis has 2 goals as well. And then assist-wise, Morgan Johnson leads the team with 2 assists for Grambling State. So yeah, like I said, 2-1-2. As they roll into Tempe. This was a team last year, Grambling State, that finished 15-5-4. So and in the NCAA tournament, they lost to Arkansas 5-0. So they were a tournament team last year. I was talking about Little Rock, but I was thinking ahead of Grambling. Grambling was a tournament team last year. They lost to Arkansas 5-0. So very, again, and got players back. But 7:30 tonight, guys. I'm going to get out of here. 7:30 tonight. They are taking on the Sun Devils, and at the soccer stadium at 7 p.m. Sorry, don't get there at 7:30. 7 p.m. as they are taking on Grambling State at the Sun Devil Soccer / Lacrosse Stadium. I know you guys know. So, but that's going to do it for me. So glad you joined in on Pitchfork Lunch again. Hit me up at Diablo00 on X, artist window on Twitter. Questions, thoughts, something you'd like to see someone. Hey, maybe. And again, I'm guessing I've thought about it and I'm going to work on it. But that you'd like to see on here, let me know. We'll hook it up. So yes, have a phenomenal rest of your day. And at Diablo00 on X, artist window on Twitter. My IG, Michael.Caratino.5, and the YouTube channel, kids. Don't forget, go to YouTube and you can subscribe to the channel for those of you who saw live. Subscribe anyway. But for your friends that are obviously want to get the know, go all around Sun Devil Nation, hit me up. Go to YouTube and then go to my channel. See Michael Caratino, search your name, but it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe. So I'm going to get out of here tomorrow. Again, Chris Cartman, the publisher of Sun Devil Source for 24/7 Sports, will join me as we break down the season / week 1. And yes, he will have his witty and awesome banter about my Homer show, which is not all rainbows and unicorns, but some of my numbers may have been. So we'll see what happens. But he will join me tomorrow. So everybody have a phenomenal rest of your Thirsty Thursday. And I will see you tomorrow. And yes, come on. You know it. It's a Sun Devil State. We're charging forward. See you at soccer 7:30 tonight. But as always, forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Playing fake. The Farmer will put it up. Throws over the middle. Touchdown. Great play.
That's away. Trying to center off with Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down. He scored.
Come from behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. But a downfield. They won't get him. Wow.
Edwards pulls up.